Now, what do we got here? All right, listen to this one. Okay, listen to this, you guys. You remember I posted up those photographs sent in by the man who sent in his trail camera photos, that possible being in it, and I lost the email. Well, he emailed me back, and with the original email, and some more photos from that trail camera as well. Some circled ones in here, I think. Either way, I'm going to post them up when I get back. But listen to this, all right? Hey, Steve, I saw the video featuring my photos. I'm forwarding the original email in hopes you're able to receive it. I've also attached another file circling where to look. There appears to be two large upright beings. Once I get the chance, I'll happily go to where these photos were taken and try to recreate them. All right. Here's the original email that came with those trail cam photos, all right? Hey, Steve, my name is Chard. Oh, pronounced Shard. I live in Oregon. I'm an avid outdoorsman. The attached photos were captured on my trail camera while scouting for a spot to bow hunt for Oregon's 2019 season. The location of the pictures is deep in Mount Hood National Forest. Over 30 miles from the nearest town. To get to this location, you must drive over an hour on old log National Forest roads. Then you must hike down an old logging road that is blocked off to motor vehicles. After that, you need to head into thick bush approximately 300 yards off the logging road where you'll find a small clearing. That is where these photos were taken. I know the photos aren't of myself, as I made sure to stay behind the camera as I exited the location. I find it highly unlikely that these photos are of another hunter due to location. There aren't any campgrounds or popular hiking trails around near this area. I'm not saying it's impossible another hunter could have stumbled across this spot since I was able to find it myself, but it's definitely not likely. I'd like to point out that another photo wasn't captured for 3 days after those pictures were taken. Something else worth noting is the size of the tree the figure can be seen walking past in comparison to its body size and shape. The first noticeable wildlife caught on the camera didn't show up until 4 days after the photos of the figure were captured. When I recovered my trail camera and saw the photos of that figure, I decided not to hunt there. That and the fact that it's not a single large game animal was caught by my camera, only birds and squirrels. Where I did hunt was approximately 14 miles from that location, and I'm happy to say that I was successful in harvesting my first Pacific Northwest black-tailed buck. Not only that, but discovered a fairly large buck in my area, thanks to my camera. I hope you enjoy that rather humorous video of him checking out my camera. He was too smart for me in 2019, but I'll return to that spot in 2020 in hopes that he survived and it's even larger. Who knows, with your tips, advice, and app, maybe I'll be able to outsmart him and harvest him successfully in 2020. Thank you for all you do, Shard. P.S. The figure is located on the right side of the big tree. It appears to be walking away from the camera. And here you see the photos. And I think he also included a video, which I haven't cracked open yet. I'll have to do that once I get back. And hopefully I'll get time tonight, this evening, to get that the photos up and included into a video, and I'll post them up on the channel for all you guys to watch. And we'll see what comes of that. And we can all talk about it amongst yourselves in comments below or wherever you want. And that is a pile of water behind me in the sky. I think you probably know what that backdrop looks like from previous videos, and it's definitely stunning. Mountains shooting up into the sky up there, and that's only a couple miles across as a gunshot straight across, only about maybe a mile and a half. So you can imagine how much water that is right there, and it's coming my way. But anyway, let's see what else I got in here. I got a whole bunch in here, man. I've been getting emailed so much. Let's see if I can squeeze this one out quick. Okay, this is from a man, Ricardo Nascimento. Now, Ricardo is a solid guy. He's emailed me a handful of times back and forth over this past year, and he was in the Seashell region of British Columbia, Gibson Seashell, Roberts Creek. And that is where that family was that was absolutely sleazed and taken advantage by that dirtbag in California, Matt Moneytaker. All right. Obviously, that's not his first rodeo coming up to Canada and taking advantage of people. Probably not his first rodeo doing that anywhere in North America. And I strongly urge all of you to assist in helping those people stop taking advantage of people. All right. We'll get into that a little more later. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. I got a feeling it's going to absolutely barf rain non-stop. I got to read another one of these a minute ago, but yeah, no. I'm going to have to, nope, I'm going to have to pack in this outdoor edition of email reading. There's no way this rain's going to let me get away with a few more of these. So I will, I'm going to pack my stuff up, head back down the mountain, go home, and we'll have to do some indoor audio recording. And I'll throw up some interesting backdrop B-roll for you to watch as I rattle off some of these emails. Holy cow! These mosquitoes are unbelievable. Crazy. I bought like a 4-pack of frickin' mosquito repellent the other day. Was after that last episode of Get Galled Up Alive. And there was a bottle of it on the boat. I know that for sure. There's a bottle of it in the Sarah's Tahoe. There's a bottle of it in the horse trailer, and another one in my pack gear for backpack hunters coming up. And of course, there isn't any in my pickup truck here with me today. How perfect is that? And these mosquitoes are freaking absolutely unbelievable. But anyway, I will see everybody later. But listen to this email. Here we go. I'm inside where it's dry, and listen to this one. Hey Steve, I hope you and the missus are doing well. Stay safe and be healthy. I'm watching your videos, well, Scott Carpenter's, and of course, David Plattis. I know that I asked you not to use my name when reading my previous emails, but I've changed my mind. Not that you need or want to now anyway. It's okay, Ricardo. You know what? You can tell by the content on my channel here. Using your name when it comes to what you honestly see and know is actually quite painless. So, good for you for coming on out and saying use my name. It's great. We respect you and appreciate you, and we got your back, man. Now, carrying on with the email, I feel that because so many people have had the courage to come forward and be okay with you using their name with their stories, that it's time I did the same. So feel free to use my name, buddy, even if the previous stories. We're all in this together. Here's another story for you. Sorry for the length. The last year that I went to Sea Shot was 2007. We didn't camp on this site where I had my sighting, but went back because I wanted to see the place again. Looking at Google Maps now, it looks like the area has become an industrial park of sorts. When I was there in 2007 with Robert, the access road for the pump station was blocked off with a 6-inch pile of dirt and rocks right at the entrance. A 6-foot pile of dirt and rocks right at the entrance. I had a Land Rover back then and no problem trailblazing through the thick brush around it, and we carried on down the road. When we were approaching the clearing we had camped in, about 75 meters away, a turkey vulture that was in that clearing rushed onto the road and took off flying directly towards us while looking behind itself. It flew right towards us and wasn't any more than 30 centimeters directly above the roof of the Rover. I could see the feathers on its belly through the sunroof. It was that close. Robert looks at me and says, I've never seen a turkey vulture fly towards people, and it looked like it was being chased. We drove on, and when we came to the clearing on the left side of the road, there was a garbage strewn around and a stand-up freezer lying on its side with the door open, flat on the ground. Inside the freezer were 2 large plastic ice cream tubs, like the ones you get the no-name ice cream at Dominion in. And they were chock full of something red, with the lids on. We were suddenly hit with a powerful stink of rotting flesh mixed with shit and who knows what else. It was enough to make us gag. Because of the stink, we decided to drive on to the pump station. When we reached it in the road across the right-of-way, it was blocked with boulders that I couldn't drive around, so we decided to park the truck and carry on by foot. When we got to the other side of the right-of-way, where boulders were again blocking the road, we heard a commotion of branches breaking the trees and shaking back by the truck and pump house. But when we looked, we couldn't see what was going on, but the noise was still there. We shrugged our shoulders and carried on. I was just hoping that my truck wouldn't have broken windows when we came back. We hiked for a couple kilometers down the road.
On the left side was a sheer drop-off to a ravine below. We decided to stop for a snack and a drink. We sat down with our legs dangling over the edge and spoke quietly. It was only minutes when we started to hear movement on the ridge above us. Someone was walking up there. We couldn't see them. We could hear their footsteps, so we could hear talking. A loud mumbling, and it was a familiar sound, but we couldn't make heads or tails of what was being said in a very deep voice. We stayed quiet and listened. We stared at each other, eyes wide open. We knew what we were listening to. The footsteps and mumbling receded in the direction we'd come from. Each of us took a deep breath and started talking about what we had just heard. The ravine was 30 feet deep, and there was a lot of Sasquatch sign in it. We stood up, brushed ourselves off, and carried on down the road. Another kilometer or so on, we took a game trail off the road and followed it to a steep trail that went down toward the sound of a river rushing below. There were trees pulled down over this descending trail. I climbed down into the first one, about a 4-foot drop. Down in this, it was dark, with a ledge that was about 1.5 meters square. Trees had been pulled in arches over this trail. It was really dark. So dark I couldn't see to the bottom end of the trail, and it was still in the middle of the afternoon. So it was enough for me, so I climbed out. I wasn't about to try this descent. It would have been pretty hard to get back up without ropes, but I could believe someone with 4-foot-long legs could have no trouble with it. We headed back, but the game trail seemed to have disappeared. We couldn't tell where it was. My video camera batteries had all gone dead, too. We had a video camera each. Robert had my digital still camera, and I had my 35mm. I was out of film. We bushwhacked our way back to the road. This is where things got scary for a bit. We lost each other. 1 minute we were only 3 meters apart, literally. The next, Robert was gone. I couldn't hear him. I called out repeatedly and never heard a reply. I felt like I was being watched, and I thought Robert was pranking me. It seemed like it took me forever to reach the road again. When I did, I was maybe 500 meters further from where we had taken the game trail. No Robert in sight. I walked back towards the pump station, calling for Robert, when he finally answered and came out of the bush on my right. "What happened to you?" he asked. "Why wouldn't you answer me?" "I didn't hear you. I've been calling your name almost since we last saw each other." Neither one of us had heard the other calling. We decided to head back. We talked about how weird the experience that had been. First the batteries going dead, then losing the game trail that had been so obvious before, and then losing each other. The weirdest part was not being able to hear each other calling. When we got back to the right-of-way, I was relieved to see my truck in the same condition I left it. We climbed in and drove back up the access road towards the clearing. When we got there, the 2 ice cream tubs were opened and empty, sitting in the ground a few feet from the freezer. "Holy shit," I yelled. "Those effing tubs are empty." I stopped the truck, and we both got out. We each examined the tubs. No damage whatsoever. No scratch marks, no tooth marks, no punctures. Someone or something with thumbs had pulled the lids off, consumed the entire 4 or 5 liters of what turned out to be raspberry preserves by the smell of it. We were dumbfounded. Nobody in their right mind would have eaten something like that out of the discarded freezer. Inside the tubs was clear giant finger smears, where the preserves had been scraped out from the inside. There was only a spot of it left in one of the tubs. Suddenly there was a loud racket of leaves shaking behind us that scared the shit out of the two of us. At the same time, myself and Robert jumped in the air and spun around 180 degrees around. He with my little digital Canon, and me with my empty 35mm, ready to take pictures. There was nothing there but a bunch of birch trees swaying back and forth furiously, easily making a 5-foot wide arc at the top. 2 ravens suddenly fell out of the top of the tree as it was swaying. One looked as if it was falling on its back, and the other was just falling. At the same time, they spread their wings, the one following backwards, righted itself as it spread its wings, and the 2 of them flew away without a peep or a squawk. The only sound they made was the wings of those feathers brushing together as they flew off. "It was just ravens," I said to Robert. "Yeah," he agreed. Neither one of us wondering at the time how 2 ravens could have gotten that 30-foot tall tree to sway violently back and forth in a 5-foot arc at the top. Never occurred to us until we were halfway back to the house. How effed up is that? Anyway, that's already too much for now. I still have a couple more to share, but that'll wait for another time. Make sure you watch your back, buddy. Cheers. Ricardo Nascimento. Thanks, Ricardo. Thanks for that email. And thanks for all your previous emails, too. I'm not sure if I posted them all up or not. I'll have to search your name in my inbox and have a look. And it's funny, you guys, when was it? I just got home night before last from a 3-day course for conservation in Salmon Arm. And coincidentally, one of my good friends who was there, who's a lifelong outdoorsman as well a hunting guide, started talking to me about this topic. And he told me when he was a teenager in the exact same area as Ricardo and the other man near Roberts Creek, him and his friends found 3 sets of prints there. And it totally freaked him out, and he said he's never forgot to this day. And he said one of the prints is 21 inches long. So, and he is about as A-type, alpha, bushman, cowboy, mountain man, hunting guide as you can get, and which is sometimes typically the group of people who laugh out loud or scoff at this topic when it comes up. And he definitely doesn't laugh at it. So there you go. There is another one. All right. So, again, you know what I've told everyone that, how do I say this? All right. You know, especially in the book that I just published and released, I did not hold back any email, any detail, and that's what every single person who is standing up for people and wants to spread good, honest knowledge. That's what everybody should be doing, right? And there is many people out there who've had the stage, the spotlight for a long time, who will not repeat stories as the one I'm about to, details as similar as the one I'm about to. They just won't do it. But I'm going to repeat every single thing that's emailed to me, no matter how strange it sounds, all right? Because there is strange things going on, and there's no way getting out of it. And again, in the book that I published, some people have emailed me and wished that I organize the stories more to be listed in different areas, states, or provinces in North America. And you know what? I basically intentionally did not organize them to their correct province or state because, let's face it, the planet only has borders, which are basically pretend lines made for exclusively human beings. And all other life on this planet just did not have a clue about borders and don't give a rat's ass. So, and the fact too is, it doesn't matter the state of the province or the continent. Every area is having numerous sightings. Always have been and always will be, and are currently today, and that's all there is to it. So, there's another reason why I didn't find it too important to organize the book as a state-by-state or province-by-province sightings base, because it just really, seriously doesn't quite really make a difference. To me anyway, and probably to many of you out there as well. And I know it doesn't make a difference to these beings or wildlife, that's for sure. But anyway, carrying on. Here's another one from Ricardo from Roberts Creek area again. Are you ready? Hey Steve, I'm glad that you're doing well. I think it's awesome of Sarah to have those bracelets made with Mr. Macaroni's hair. Very thoughtful of her. She obviously loves you very much. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And definitely was a very kind move. And I guarantee you these bracelets will never, ever leave my arm. That's for sure. Your latest video, where the gentleman mentions the lights he had seen, reminded me of an experience Robert and myself had with a couple of friends. It was the same night as my Sasquatch sighting, but hours earlier. There was still light in the sky. We had just arrived at the site. We were starting to set up our chairs and stuff around the fire pit. I can't remember who it was that noticed the light first, but we were all gravitated to the edge of the clearing to look at it. It looked to be about 100 meters away through the forest. It was the shape of a man, except larger, and was all from head to toe an electric green light, comparable to a bright neon glow, but darker, if that makes any sense. It had not been there the night before. It was creepy. It looked like it was running at us in slow motion, but it didn't get any closer. It just stayed in the same place, running in slow motion on the spot, facing us. I've never seen anything like this before or since. Thinking about it, it still makes me shiver. I don't know how long I stood there staring at it, but when I turned to say something to Robert, he and the couple that was with us were back by the vehicles about 50 feet away looking at me. I hadn't noticed any of them leaving my side when I was looking at that light, which made the whole situation creepier. Like I mentioned in previous email, the atmosphere in the area had completely changed from the night before. It was oppressive and heavy now, and seeing this only creeped me out more. To this day, I don't know what it was. I only know what I saw and what we all saw. A glowing electric green light shaped like a man that seemed to be running on the spot in slow motion. I don't know if it disappeared suddenly or if it faded away. I just remember that later it wasn't there anymore. Anyway, that's my weird light in the forest story. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter. If you decide to read this to the rest of the gang, you can use my name. I'm okay with that now. And if you don't decide to read it, that's okay too. No worries. Take care, my buddy, and the two of you stay safe. Cheers, Ricardo Nascimento. Thanks for the email, Ricardo, and definitely respect to you for sharing your name and sharing the full details, no matter how bizarre they might sound, right? And just like we're hearing previous from numerous other people, there is literally thousands of reports of strange lights in the forests of North America and other places, and that is a fact, and that's all there is to it. And I'm quite certain it's not going to go away. But the more people email in and share, the more knowledge we're going to get, the more points and facts we're going to take out of each email and put in our own little database, and we're going to figure this out shortly. Good luck out there and be safe. And don't forget, if you feel it may help, you can share your experience with all of us here at sharemystory@howtohunt.com or tellmystory@howtohunt.com.